Good evening, I'm Faye Kwan. As China sends an envoy to mediate talks between Thailand and Cambodia, tonight we look at addressing the root causes of the border conflict and what it takes to secure a lasting ceasefire. All that and more coming up on AWANI International. China has sent its special envoy for Asian affairs to Thailand and Cambodia to facilitate dialogue between the two countries. Beijing says it has been closely monitoring the ongoing border conflict and is actively working to de-escalate tensions. Now, fighting between the neighbours reignited after a skirmish on December 7th. The renewed clashes have killed more than 24 people and displaced more than 800,000 others. It shattered a ceasefire reached at the ASEAN summit in October, overseen by the US and Malaysia, which had ended 5 days of bloody fighting in July. China has since dispatched its envoy twice to seek mediation following the collapse of the peace agreement. US President Donald Trump has also attempted to intervene, claiming last week that both sides had agreed to a ceasefire starting Saturday night. Bangkok, however, has denied that any such agreement was reached. As renewed clashes along the Thai-Cambodia border nears its third week, questions remain on how both sides can break the deadlock. Dr. Det Sokudom, Senior Fellow at the Cambodian Institute for Cooperation and Peace and Professor of International Relations at Paragon International University, shares how Cambodians view the fighting and what's needed for a lasting ceasefire.
Everyone is very frustrated and has shows a great extent of anger toward the unproportionate level of aggression by Thai military that has conducted deep military strikes into Cambodian territory. And I think Cambodians fully understand that this is mainly driven by the ongoing fragmentation of Thai politics. But it frustrates people because whatever happened next door in their own country should not have resulted in the tragedies of the Cambodian civilians, including children, and as a country that has just gone through reconstruction and a rebirth of the nation in the past 2-3 decades, majority of Cambodian, in fact, all Cambodians would welcome peace and especially generally encourage the Thai population to also, put pressure on their government and to force them to return to the ceasefire agreement, and not, dictate Cambodia to accept the terms that are spelled out for Cambodia. This reads less as a ceasefire agreement than a dictation requiring Cambodia to surrender, and that is not well received. The prevailing view is that this is not something that could be trustworthy, because if Thailand could break the ceasefire that was signed under President Trump, then there's no reason to believe that the country would be able to hold a ceasefire unilaterally this way.
Cambodia, according to Det, is always receptive to ceasefire proposals. He stressed that lasting peace requires enforcement mechanisms and, more importantly, political will from both sides.
I would say that, judging from the pattern, when any time a ceasefire is proposed from the Cambodian side, the reception has always been positive. As in, case in point was when Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim proposed on December 6th that there would be ceasefire on that day at 10 p.m. And it would be supported by AOT team on the ground and the satellite image and whatnot provided by the Americans. That was also positively received widely in Cambodia. But then later in the day, we learned that the Thai side simply refused to accept that. And also we have to address the root cause of it, right? So for the current conflict, as I have argued earlier, is driven mainly by what is going on in Thai domestic politics. And until that is resolved, I am somewhat skeptical that any pressures from outside at this point would be effective.
As tensions flare between Thailand and Cambodia, questions are also rising about the durability of the recent ceasefire. Dr. Rustum Bansu from Prince of Songkla University says reaching an agreement is only the first step. The more vital part, according to him, is to ensure that the root causes of the conflict are addressed for lasting peace.
Of course, both parties of conflict have their own narrative on the root of the conflicts. But for the Thailand side, one root of the conflict is that the Cambodia have not stopped a threat to Thailand's national security, especially the landmine that they planned, they laid down, on the border, and if ASEAN, as a platform, can put a pressure, toward Cambodia, to act or to practice, to clear or to resolve this landmine or take it away or whatever, that can maybe they can some point can resolve this conflict. Yes, and also I think I observe myself that Prime Minister Anwar, he play a very important role. But for the other ASEAN countries, we don't observe, much more united, voice toward these conflicts or pressure, toward these conflicts. Yes, I think Malaysia need to focus on the threat that Thailand or both parties perceive. And okay, we can have a ceasefire agreement, but if we reach the ceasefire agreement, but the root of conflict did not resolve, so we can expect that in the near future, the conflicts or the violent conflict will come up again. So whenever we want to reach the ceasefire, we need to be sure that those root cause of the conflicts of both party of conflict are are focused or are take care by negotiation platform. And also, I think ASEAN may work together, not only ASEAN in itself, but work together with those superpower or another regional cooperation like EU, to try to resolve this conflict.
We'll be back with more after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The US has approved a record $11.1 billion arms sale to Taiwan, the largest weapons package ever for the island as it faces intensifying military pressure from China. The move comes under President Donald Trump's administration and signals continued US support for Taipei's defense and regional deterrence.
Taiwan's defense ministry said the package covers 8 items, including HIMARS rocket systems, howitzers, Javelin anti-tank missiles, and critical equipment parts. The sale is now at the congressional notification stage, where U.S. lawmakers can block or modify the deal, though support for Taiwan remains strong. The Pentagon also said the arms sale serves U.S. national and security interests, helping Taiwan modernize its forces and maintain a credible defensive capability. Last month, President Lai Ching-te announced an additional $40 billion in defense spending from 2026 to 2033, saying there was no room for compromise on national security. China, which claims Taiwan as its own territory, has not yet responded to the announcement. U.S. arms sale to Taiwan remain a source of tension with Beijing, even as Washington says it is legally obliged to help the island defend itself.
The U.S. military says it carried out a lethal strike on a vessel in the Eastern Pacific on Wednesday, killing 4 people. U.S. Southern Command, which is leading the expanding Southern Spear operation in Latin America, says the strike targeted 4 male narco-terrorists, but provided no evidence linking the vessel to drug trafficking.
The attack brings the total to nearly 100 people killed in U.S. strikes on 26 vessels across the Eastern Pacific and Caribbean since September. On Wednesday, the Republican-controlled House blocked resolutions that would have required the Trump administration to seek congressional approval before continuing strikes against alleged drug cartels. The vote comes as the U.S. increases its military presence in Latin America, with President Donald Trump threatening action against Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's government, which Washington has designated a foreign terrorist organization. Trump also ordered a blockade on Tuesday of all sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving Venezuela, escalating his administration's months-long pressure campaign against Maduro. Venezuela has now asked the United Nations Security Council to convene to discuss what it calls ongoing U.S. aggression.
The U.S. has extended a waiver allowing oil and gas transactions from Russia's Sakhalin-2 project. Its Treasury Department says the general license for the project will be extended through June 18th next year, temporarily waiving sanctions imposed in 2022 after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
The project is a critical source of liquefied natural gas (LNG) for our U.S. ally Japan, which receives about 9% of its energy from Sakhalin-2. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara said securing overseas LNG supplies remains extremely important for the country's energy security, adding that Tokyo will continue working closely with the U.S. and international partners. Japan relies on imported fuels for around 70% of its energy needs. Most supplies from the Sakhalin-2 project, which includes Japanese firms Mitsui and Mitsubishi as shareholders, are scheduled to phase out between 2028 and 2033. The move comes even as President Donald Trump has been pressuring countries including Japan, India and China to scale back purchases of Russian oil and LNG.
Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin says the Russian armed forces currently maintain full strategic initiative in the area of the special military operation. In fact, he expresses confidence that the goals of the country's special military operation in Ukraine will be achieved.
While addressing an expanded meeting of the Russian Defense Ministry Board, Putin said that the past year had been an important milestone in fulfilling the task of the special military operation, underscoring that Russia has the capability to accelerate its offensive pace. Putin said that Russia's task of expanding the security buffer zone will be fulfilled. He claimed that the Russian military currently holds the strategic initiative along the entire Russia-Ukraine conflict front and is defeating Ukrainian forces, including elite Ukrainian units trained in the West. Rejecting claims that have portrayed Russia as a threat to European nations, Putin said that such narratives are unfounded and fabricated. Instead, he said Russia is currently seeking mutually beneficial and fair cooperation with the United States and European countries.
That concludes AWANI International for tonight. Stay with us as we track the strategies and power shifts shaping the new global order. For more updates, visit international.astroawani.com and follow us on social media. I'm Faye Kwan. Thank you for watching and good night.